Welcome back to our podcast, A Bot to Talk About. Now, this is our lighthearted strategic podcast talking about AI adoption and specifically the moments that AI clicked for our guests, the model that they implement, and then their mandate that they're going to be sharing with you all today. Now, today we are super excited to be having, well, arguably one of Australia's leading and prominent real estate, I can't even call him an agent, but we'll just call him real estate bloke because he's just an all-round good guy, but managing director of Ray White, Western Sydney, and also the co-founder of PRiMAX AI. I'm super excited to have Mark Bernberg on our show. Mark, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you
It's
too.
good to see you in flesh for a change. Normally we're behind a screen. Well, I guess this is behind a screen as well.
But like coming out of COVID.
Finally, totally. Right? So good to be here. Mark, the show, as we've mentioned, is all about three main things. The moment you realize that AI is here to stay and how that's impacted your business, the model that you guys have implemented and taken on, and then a couple of mandates or one or two mandates that you can share with our viewers and our listeners today. That's sort of what we're going to be going through. But I don't know if I've given justice to the introduction about yourself. So it would be great if you can sort of just give us a quick 30-second about who you are, what you do, just so people can get a feel for what it is.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah, so I'm managing director of Ray White Projects in Western Sydney. We specialize in the sales, marketing, and promotion of off the plan or brand new projects, and also one of the co-founders of PRiMAX AI, which is a data intelligence platform, which really is targeting developers, property developers, and allowing them to essentially understand every element of their project from a data perspective. So, what to release at what price and when, and also how to understand who the right buyers are for each one of their products. And that was kind of, our main foray into AI when it came to property.
Amazing. And so what was if you had to pinpoint one exact moment that you said, okay, yep, we need to start including AI into our business, we need to start implementing this, what was that moment for you?
So I've always been a technology lover. I'm fascinated by technology. I'm fascinated by how technology can both help and hurt. And, we were following, when I say we, I and the business were following the advances in technology, particularly around 2023 when OpenAI first came out with, I think it was their ChatGPT, I think it was version 2 or something, and started playing with it. And early days, it wasn't great. The image creation wasn't great. I think when really it clicked for us was when agents or agentic AI became more prevalent. So what I mean by that is, going into ChatGPT and asking it where you should maybe go for dinner in the neighborhood is one thing. Then getting it to go and book you a table and pay with a credit card and reserve, that's the agentic side of it. And I think once we emerged from, let's call it informational AI to actionable AI, that's when I started to think, well, how could we apply this to some of the mundane tasks or some of the repetitive tasks or some of the elements of the business where the cost of adding another human creates a linear acceleration of costs in relation to profit. Whereas actually with AI, particularly if it's repetitive, if there's a process to it, could the agentic AI start to kick in? And then you overlay that with, by the time your Uber driver is starting to talk to you about ChatGPT, then it's mainstream. So I think those kind of three things coming together made us realize we definitely need to have this in the business.
And specifically within the real estate space, like how has it either helped or diminished perhaps the market shift and sort of buyer development in terms of AI and the adoption from that perspective? Is that kind of helped or is it made it worse?
Sure. It's a broad question. I think, look, there's so many different ways you could look at that from, does it help buyers? Does it help agents? Does it help developers? Does it help market transparency? I think first and foremost, maybe take a step back on this. I was having a conversation with somebody. We're in a weird space right now in AI. And if we were to say, right on the very left of the line is somebody who doesn't use AI at all. All right. I've got friends who are just like, no way, they're not doing this AI thing. And then you get to the right, you've got a lot of people who they just can't live without AI. They don't even know how we existed in 2023 before AI. And it's funny because I was having this conversation with a client the other day, and they were, we'd submitted a document and they came back and they said, this feels very AI. I said, what do you mean it feels very AI? They said, well, it just feels like you've used AI. And I think we're in this weird space right now because if you don't use AI, you could be considered a Luddite. You could be considered like, what are you doing? Like how you looked at your parents, when you first brought out an iPhone and they were like, where's the rotary dialer? All the way to the right where I think people are getting lazy. And what I mean by that is you can see it on the internet. Like, come on guys, get rid of the M dash. Yeah. If you're putting a post or an article and it's full of M dashes everywhere, it's the easiest way to say, okay, they just went to AI. And what we do see is we see a lot of laziness. So people go, write me an ad for this real estate property. And then the AI just writes an ad and they copy and paste it. Worked hard today. And I think that, where do we see AI in real estate? We're seeing both sides of that scale. We're seeing people that are just, no, AI can't come into real estate. It's never going to replace an agent. You need the personal touch. It's got to have that. All the way to the right, where you've got people talking about removing real estate agents and removing, even us out of the process, which I just don't see happening. So where do I see it in real estate? I think adoption is a bit slower because real estate is more traditional. No matter how you look at it, we are slightly behind, I think, the 8 ball in terms of what some of the top players in the US are doing. But it is definitely starting to happen, and it is starting to encroach in every area of real estate, from ad creation to ad response to how buyers are searching for properties now, and the education that buyers can have as part of their property search.
Yeah, that's very much a factor to consider, I suppose. And it's a really good segue into our next piece here about the model that you guys use. Now, you talk about real estate probably being a little bit slower in terms of AI adoption for you guys. In your space, whether it's in the Ray White or probably more so in PRiMAX, what are the sort of key principles that you guys implement or consider when trying to adopt it and use AI in your business? And like, how does that sort of, affect the way you run?
Great questions. I think, more so in PRiMAX than in Ray White because it's a more traditional real estate business. But certainly one of our key things is learning to fail. I know that sounds weird. Like, what do you mean you're teaching people to fail? I think AI is so new.
Yep.
And a lot of these platforms, every week a new platform comes out and a new tool comes out and a new product comes out. And I don't think, it's just my opinion, that most of the market, people are very au fait with ChatGPT. Even my mother started to use ChatGPT. So that's becoming mainstream. But outside of ChatGPT, a lot of people still haven't heard of Perplexity. A lot of people have never played with Nano Banana. A lot of people have never used GenSpark. And so what we try to instill into our staff and into our business is learning to fail. In other words, try something new. Go and try a new platform. Go try a new process. Go try build this agentic flow. Do not look at it to replace your work so that you can sit back and do nothing, but rather, where can we be more efficient? Where can we have more time? If you can use AI in your business, which we do, to save hours, then why shouldn't you be able to stop at 4:00 and go home and see your kids and spend more time with them because you achieved more in 7 hours than the standard person achieves in 9? So we look at it very much from, how can we incorporate different models? We don't have one model. So it's not, yes, GPT is at the core of what we do, but we're heavy users of Canva. Canva is phenomenal in terms of what they've done with GPT. I couldn't be a bigger fan. So, we've got Canva, we've got Perplexity, we've got Nano Banana, we've got GenSpark, we've got Stanley. Now, I'm not dropping these names because we're trying to promote these tools. I think where people get confused sometimes in AI is they try and get one AI to do everything. That's like hiring an admin, sales associate, and a legal person in one person and getting them so that they're a lawyer, an admin person, and a great sales aide. They're never going to be. So you hire different people for different skill sets. In the same way, I think you use different models for different things, but how does it fit into the architecture of what you're doing? And I suppose particularly in PRiMAX, that's where we can really push the boundaries, because there we've got hardcore machine learning, agentic AI running, generative AI running, delivering insights and predictability. And we are testing the boundaries of what can be done there. But I think anybody looking to instill AI into their business should look at what do they do, and then try and break down their process into chunks. Is it research? Is it creation? Is it creative? Is it operational? And then from there, decide which AI tool might help fit so that it still flows with your process, as opposed to trying to take your process and put it into one model. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's really important, I think, to make sure that you've got a clear delineation between where it works for you, where it belongs, and where it doesn't, I suppose, from 100%. An AI perspective. I guess for you guys, it sounds pretty clear you've got the boundaries in terms of where AI belongs in your business. Where does it not belong? Like, where do you sort of see a situation where you wouldn't use AI? Obviously, you talked about real estate being a really traditional business and it's from a slower adoption perspective. What sort of elements do you guys specifically and intentionally not use AI in?
I think that AI won't replace the relationship. Where would I be not encouraging my team to be using AI into something where you need human intuition? Because we do not have what they call AGI. Right? There's no computer right now that can think like a human can think and really, as I always like to say, read the room. So where would we not be pushing AI? We wouldn't be pushing AI to do the relationship building. I think AI should be used as part of your process, but you should never, in the same way that, basics in sales, right? 101 in sales is telephone is for conversation, email is for confirmation. So we always tell the staff. Whereas most people they feel more comfortable behind a keyboard using that for conversation. I think it's the same as AI. AI is for operation, but humans are for relation. So, keep the personal touch, because that's really where all the business happens, is in relationships. Doesn't matter which business you're in. And I think that using AI to optimize and make your day more efficient and make your life easier is the end goal, but not to actually do the work for you, because otherwise, where's your purpose? And then if we start to get to that, eventually it's just going to be AI talking to AI and there won't be a need for any humans. And then, we're now talking extermination events, which is not the direction this podcast is meant to go. So we won't. But I think, and also it is so obvious to see when people are just using AI. And I think that you need humans with AI right now. It's like puppies. You can train them and they're amazing and they bring you so much entertainment and it's great, but you just don't let them off the leash yet, because if they see another dog on the other side of the road, they're going to bolt. AI will hallucinate. If it doesn't know, it will hallucinate. No matter how many times you tell GPT no more M dashes, this is a system-wide prompt, I guarantee you're going to get M dashes again. So you need, and I actually think M dashes is the silver lining that no one has looked at, because it forces you to come over and say, right, that's the output. Now let me run a human eye over that. I would never use M dashes, didn't even know they existed before. Let me now change that. And I think that if we work with AI rather than looking at AI to do it for us, you're going to get a better outcome.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point you make, because a lot of people have this fear of AI, that it's going to take over jobs and it's going to take over humans and things as we know. But you rightfully said it. You can prompt it, and the art is in the prompt, but it's still never going to be 100%. 100% accuracy, even with a human, you're not going to get. But at least you just lose that personal touch, right? You just lose that personal flavor.
So crazy. And I heard this on a podcast. I don't remember which podcast it was, but I can ratify the story for you. We as humans want to create AI to create perfection. All right. The perfect post, the perfect article, the perfect submission. What's happening as a result of that is humans are now starting to look for imperfection. So I read a stat the other day that more than 50% of the content on the internet is now bot written, which means that more than 50% of the content on the internet is not human. It's computers driving that content. And so one of the big trends for 26 is people are going to crave to get back into communities, gated communities where bots can't exist. Even to the point where humans will want to speak to another human, to the point where humans will look for the flaw as opposed to the perfect product. I'll give you an example. Yeah. This client that we were chatting about, and they were like, this just feels so AI. When we sent back a second version of the document, we still used AI, but we left some spelling mistakes in there on purpose. Now, if anybody doesn't, you shouldn't leave spelling mistakes in a professional document. But it was done.
Yeah.
And guess what? They came back and they were so happy with the document. And they said, by the way, we found this spelling mistake. You should probably just fix it up. But thank you so much. The irony of that just is beyond me, because it's like we want perfection. We want smarter intelligence. But actually, as that grows, we crave the human interaction and the flawed interaction. And I think that's a subject that's going to surface again.
What I'm hearing is that you guys won't be using voice AI in your...
No, we are. And we would highly recommend a product like yours. We think that there is definitely a place for that. Where we don't think it is, brand new leads coming in. I think voice AI is great for reactivating old databases, cold leads, people where, it would traditionally be used as a training mechanism or a junior or an associate where you don't need that person. AI can handle that. But talking to hottest, warmest, best customers, I would always be putting a human on the phone right now. Let's say that. We have this podcast in 3 years' time. We may be a totally different discussion. But right now, for your warmest leads, and especially if you're a high-ticket product, get humans on the front line. Use the AI callers to do the mass adoption on the background. So, for example, let's say you send an email out to 20,000 people and you get 5,000 responses. One human would take, 2-3 months to get through that, whereas an AI dialect probably smash that in 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. Set up the next stage for a human to get involved. So no, I'm very much pro voice dialers. The question would be when and where in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone's interested, check out our links in the demo. A bit of a cheap plug there.
Nothing's free, right?
Nothing's free, but the demo, you can check it out on our LinkedIn and landing page or website as well. We'll give you a free demo, see what it looks like. Okay, so we've talked about the moment that AI, you guys said, yep, we need to take it on. We've talked about your method or your model. Now let's talk about the mandate. If you had to give our listeners, our viewers, 1 or 2 mandates
that has worked well in your business about what people should be thinking about, what people should be doing, how they should be doing it? What would you?
So let me give you how we do it in our business. So what we do from time to time is everybody tracks their activity in the business. So if you're an admin listening to this, if you're in legal, if you're in sales, if you're in marketing or creative, I would say to you first sit down and track over a week. What are you doing? And that sounds, well, I know what I'm doing. There's my calendar. No, but you've got big gaps in your calendar. What are you actually doing? Is it research? Is it copywriting? Is it, creating storyboards, strategy documents, legal reviews? Try and work out so that when you get to the end of that, you have a look and you say, wow, I'm spending a lot of time actually creating copywriting. Okay. Can I get AI to help me optimize that time so that I can free up my time for uses where I am far superior to an AI? So if there's a copywriter, for example, watching this, I'm not suggesting copywriters are done, although I do think they are pretty close onto the dodo list, but not done entirely yet. But if you're a copywriter, you should be using a Claude or something like that, not maybe a GPT. And again, different models, different uses, but using a Claude to draft you and then really tailoring it, because the quantity that you could get through is far greater than if you just start yourself. So I think once people understand what are you doing a lot, and then researching what is the best type of AI to help with copywriting, researching, reading, summarizing. Again, ChatGPT can do all of it, but sometimes it's not the best at it. So I would use Perplexity for research. I would use Claude for writing. I would use GPT for thinking. I would use Gemini for infographics and things like that. And then once you've been able to do that, it's about then as a business working out what AI systems do you want, because also it's out of control right now.
Yeah.
It's like every month there's 10 new platforms at $40 a month. So if you're not careful, you're spending $5,000 a month to have 10 different iterations of GPT. So understanding your business and understanding where you're going to get the most benefit, what programs do you currently use and how can you augment that rather than replace that? Because then people get freaked out. I've been using Word all the time. Now you're wanting me to use this? No, stay in Word. Just do it here first, paste it into Word, and then finish it there as an easy example. So how have we done it in our business as a mandate is we've mandated that everybody understand what they do and understand where are tasks that can be, let's call it, AI focused to augment it. And then we've looked at a business as to what systems do we want to use, because again, you should be using a paid system. You should make sure that it's private and that, the privacy stuff is checked to make sure that your data is compliant, and then decide, all right, cool. How do we roll this out? I think people sometimes see it as binary. You have AI or you don't have AI. I don't think it's anywhere near as black or white as that.
And so what would you say is one pitfall that you've seen in sort of that approach, right? And like, how have you guys avoided?
The biggest pitfall I've seen is people try and get AI to recreate everything. I want the AI to dial, then I must book the appointment, then I must qualify the person, then it should go, it should then do a voice meeting with the person, then it should send me a summary, then I want it to slow down, Tiger. Like the first thing is just figure out where can AI be useful and then where can you test it? We would always say, run something really small, get feedback on that, and then go, okay, maybe I can improve this. Maybe I should use another system. I think it's people trying to create too much complexity from simplicity. Just researching. Don't say, all right, we've now just outsourced all our research to an agentic perplexity agent. Well, no. Make sure it's coming back. How is that research then, flowing through the business? Who picks up on it? Where does it go? If it's legal feedback that's happening, where does that legal feedback go to make sure that a senior legal representative is just making sure, because these things hallucinate. These things are not right yet. So I think people giving AI too much control and trying to do too much with it too soon, and being too clever with it, just keep it simple.
Yeah. So I guess to sum up, AI is not here to take over, but rather to join with, if you like. We'll do it together. We won't completely replace what we do with humans.
Yes. I mean, I think it's like any major new technology. When cars replaced horses, did that mean that horses were done? No, there's still a place in this world for horse riding. What it meant though is that we could get to places much faster or more efficiently, or with aircon on in a more enjoyable manner. And so that's how I see AI. It's not here to now replace everybody and replace all the jobs. And sure, there's certain jobs that are going to be under pressure, but we've always adapted, right? When the Industrial Revolution came in, it wasn't like suddenly, okay, machines took over. When robotics came in the 80s in Toyota and those factories, it wasn't like suddenly everybody was replaced. It's the adoption of that. And I think it's just understanding that this is something that can make your life a lot easier, a lot more efficient, and a lot more enjoyable. It's how you use it.
Awesome. Great. Well, we're at that point of this show now where this is, we call it TurboTax. basically a fancy word for fast fire, rapid fire, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to give you some quick fire answers, quick fire questions, and first thing that pops to your head.
Dangerous
Let
with
us
me,
know.
bro.
It's not too crazy. It won't be too personal. That's fine. But finish off this sentence. AI is for
Everyone.
agents are for real estate agents.
Agents,
Yeah.
I thought you meant AI. I believe they should be for everybody.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Your seatbelt rule in 5 words or less.
Always wear one.
Good one. I like that. Faster reply or better reply, and why?
Better reply. I'm a massive proponent of faster is not always better. So the person out there that's quickly done their response to even an HR application. We got a response the other day from a candidate. Oh, come on, guys, just remove the M dashes.
Yeah.
So like GPT responded. So should I be interviewing you or GPT? It's not faster. It's do it better.
Good answer. One habit you'd add to every sales call this week,
Got me there. One habit I would add to a call.
or even for the team. Not just for one person, even for the team.
I mean, I say one habit to always, whenever you have an interaction with any human in a business environment, I would always say, what did you learn? It doesn't matter if you made a sale, doesn't matter if you had a meeting. If you come out of there and say, what did I learn in the last half an hour, 1 hour, 5 minutes? If you're always learning and you're never losing. So that's
Amazing.
the answer to the question. One habit, keep learning.
Keep learning. Fantastic. And final one, if you have a mug, what's your one quote that you'll be putting on that mug? Oh, of course you are. Of course you are. Well, going current form, I think you probably will be walking alone, given that we won't get into that.
I'm staying there.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's been a pleasure to have you on A Bot to Talk About. Yeah, as I said, you've got a lot of experience, a lot of enthusiasm in this tech AI space, and combining that with real estate and everything that you do. It's been a pleasure to have you on board. And anybody who's interested, make sure you check him out on LinkedIn. All the links will be in our at the bottom of this podcast. Check it out below. And also, you can check out Acquire One as well, Aero, our AI assistant. All the links below, and all of our channels, Spotify, YouTube, etc., will all be there. So yeah, tune in next time as well. And thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having me, bud.